I just got a new computer, which means I can finally make vids again. So today, I'm going to be ranking every single MCU Infinity Saga movie on a tier list. So, I'm not going to do the Multiverse Saga today. I want to split this ranking into two parts. This is part 1, the Infinity Saga, and tomorrow will be part 2, the Multiverse Saga. So, starting off with the Infinity Saga. Well, first off, there's 5 tiers. Amazing. These movies are just iconic, amazing movies. No real flaws, or very few. Great. They don't hold up as much, they don't have as much use as the amazing, but they're still very great movies. Pretty good. They may have 1 or 2 flaws here and there, but they're still pretty good movies. They may have a few flaws, but they're pretty good movies. They're fun but flawed. These movies are fun to watch at times, and can be engaging, however, they still have a lot of flaws, and are just bad. So starting off with Iron Man. This movie. Now, it might not have had a whole lot of flash, like later installments of the MCU, but it still was just a great movie. And the most important thing when it came to a movie, an actually good plot. The villain was absolutely wonderful. I love how Iron Man starts out, kind of like Aids the World Compass to be a hero. I just love this movie. Everything about it. The action, the character. Iron Man is easily my favorite character. He's written beautifully. I love the villain. Obadiah is easily my favorite Iron Man villain. He's my favorite villain of the trilogy. He's just a great villain, and Iron Man's a great hero. Honestly, though, amazing tier. Even the minor characters were written well and didn't feel like anyone was underused. This was a great movie. No, amazing. Now, after quite an amazing movie, we have kind of a not that great one. Incredible Hulk. Honestly, though, the hero isn't written as well. The villain isn't written as well. Really, though, nothing in this movie is really written that well. The movie kind of feels like a shallow attempt to make money, really. Which Iron Man didn't feel as much like. It actually felt like a really good story, and this one really didn't. This movie, I mean, it is fun to watch. I don't think the movie is really bad. It does have some fun moments. The plot is kind of fun, however, it's fun but very deeply flawed. Okay, this is going to be controversial. Iron Man 2. I actually really like this movie. So, I love how even though Tony Stark kind of became a better person in Iron Man 1, he's still shown as very flawed in this, which I absolutely love about the character. That's why Iron Man is my favorite character, because they show him actually being flawed, which I love. Yeah. Iron Man, he's just a great. I love this movie. I admit, though, the villains aren't nearly as good as the first one. That is this movie's major flaw, in my opinion. I think it balanced. I admit, a lot of people say this movie had too much going for it because of Black Widow, Justin Hammer, Whiplash, all that. I admit, though, I actually like the movie a whole lot. I actually think Justin Hammer was a pretty good antagonist, even if it was a good idea to have, even though he was kind of bad. So was Simon Vanko. I like him a bit better than Whiplash, honestly. He was actually decent. No, I like him better than Justin Hammer. But honestly, this movie is a pretty good movie. Maybe even great. Now we got Thor. Honestly, though, of all the movies we've covered so far, with the exception of at least of the Iron Man movies, this movie has a lot less juice, honestly. There's a lot of very slow, boring parts of this movie. If you watch it, you know. And it's just kind of a boring movie sometimes. However, I still really like the plot. I love how, just like with Iron Man, Thor kind of gets the moral compass to be a hero. I like that a lot. I just love everything else about it. It's a really good fish out of water, especially when he doesn't really realize what's happened to him yet, and he is in that hospital being chained up. That's pretty funny. Honestly, it is a pretty good movie. Just doesn't have as much juice. It just doesn't have as much juice to be a great or amazing. Now we got Captain America, the First Avenger. This movie is actually okay. I don't think it's amazing, perhaps, but it's a really great film. I love how in stark contrast to Iron Man, this guy was honestly a pretty good guy, a really amazing guy from the start. Yeah, and then be a hero, just basically just him fighting the villain. And they don't make him feel like an overpowered guy, because they actually show him actually making a sacrificing something, which I love. How he dives into the ocean, That made such an overpowered character still feel complex, with all the stuff going on with him. He made overpowered characters still feel complex and a character you can root for, which I love. Which is why I love Captain America way more than Captain Marvel. Honestly, though, I also love the plot. It's a really unique movie for the first half, and I love how the first half kind of starts off like slow and smooth. How it once gets like second half to fight, action, climax. You know, it's a really great movie. I would say it's great. Next up is the final movie. 6 minutes for 6 movies, The Avengers. You know this has to be amazing. What I love about this phase of the MCU is that it feels like everything was put together so well. Like not only are all the characters, but there's also all the stuff that's mentioned in them, all the plot points of all these movies, just coming together very well in this final climax to the start of phase 2 and the end of an iconic, honestly beautiful phase. Even if this movie kind of sucked. Okay. Honestly, though, the Avengers has so much going for it. I love this movie. As Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, the Hulk. I actually like the Hulk more. What's his name? Mark Ruffalo is just a billion times better than whoever played this guy, Edward Norton. He was just kind of, I don't know, I hated Edward Norton, honestly. I watched this, and I mean, he was actually a pretty unlikable guy in real life, actually. Which is why he was recasted. Also, the Hulk CGI just looks better. But yeah, I love this movie. It's a great movie. Even amazing too. Might actually be on par with Iron Man, though. I'll put above it. Iron Man 3. People are very mixed on this. Some people like it. Some people are just mad on it. And some people downright don't like it. Honestly, though, I like it. It is a pretty great movie. For one thing, it has Iron Man. Although you can't go wrong with Iron Man, it's kind of hard for you to make an Iron Man movie that I won't like. Although, yeah, it's possible. There are Iron Man movies I wouldn't like. You could write Iron Man won't like, but this isn't one of them. First off, I like how Tony Stark fights a villain that he one-on-one created, which is only the first time he does that. Well, he kind of indirectly caused Obadiah Stane, though also kind of didn't. And, like, he kind of caused stuff to happen to him in this. Yeah, he absolutely caused stuff to happen to Iron Man 2. And he's gonna have to fight another villain he created in Age of Ultron. This is still like a preview to Iron Man fighting villains that he created. Honestly, though, I honestly really like this movie a lot. It truly is a really fun movie. Everything about it is really fun. I love that kid. I love how they, like, really show, like, kid and stuff. It's actually a pretty great movie. Great. For the Dark World. Okay, so I just talked about villains I actually liked, like I liked how the Firepost people in Iron Man 3 was like kind of a unique thing to have. But really though, this movie is kind of not great, honestly. For one thing, what is the name of this movie's villain? You probably know it's Malekith, but you had to think for a couple seconds to remember. Yeah, and maybe you didn't even remember because honestly though, Malekith is just so forgettable. Also, there's a lot more slow stuff. Like in the first movie, there's a lot of really slow scenes, really boring stuff, and it's like way more apparent in this movie than in Thor. Honestly, though, it is fun. I think the plot is overall kind of fun, although there's a lot of problems. The plot still has some fun. It still can be a fun movie to watch if you allow yourself to. You can enjoy watching this movie. I do like it more than the Hulk. It's fun but flawed. Okay, so although 2013 was kind of an iffy year for Marvel because of this and the whatever reception on this movie, then we got Captain America, the Winter Soldier. The first 2014 movie. 2014 was an amazing year for Marvel. This movie, first off, I love the twist. I love how this movie kind of like, not only does this change the way you view the movie at like the end, but they also change the way you view this and all these movies before this movie. Like showing that guy who's important in Iron Man 2 be a Hydra agent. I even noticed that until my latest time viewing this movie. I love everything about this movie. I love Black Widow, Captain America, Nick Fury. Everything in this movie is done brilliantly. It is a truly brilliant movie, and you have to enjoy watching this. Amazing. Though not as amazing as Iron Man, because Captain America cannot top Iron Man. Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy! This movie is easily the most rewatchable movie I have covered so far. Maybe Iron Man's a bit more, but this movie is just so fun to rewatch. Now, I love how this is the first movie in, like, a lot of movies that, like, really point into, like, the comedy aspect. And I admit, I know that would end up kind of killing Marvel. That would kill Marvel in like about a decade. That would go on to kill Marvel. However, this movie actually handled comedy well. They knew when to not use comedy. They also knew when to use it. Although it had a massive abundance of comedy, even having Chris Pratt, who was kind of a comedic actor before then, this was still, they still knew when to be serious. They still knew how many jokes they should have. They still knew how to balance comedy with, it was a really great movie. They knew how to balance comedy with some serious moments. Honestly, though, this is a great movie. The comedy doesn't feel overused. And honestly, the plot overall, just the plot, the action, the violence, all the stuff about this movie. I love how it's supposedly a prison escape movie. It's just a really great movie, honestly. It's hard to really have a bad time watching this. Also, even though the Avengers had a whole phase before they had the team up to like stop each character, you know who each character is before you watch. When you watch, they need a scene to set up Peter Quill. Although you're a bit confused some of the time, you still kind of know what's going on. Honestly, it's a really great movie. You know who Gamora is, you know who Peter Quill is. You know that these guys are bounty hunters. That's all you need to know. And you know that this guy lost his family and is mad. Yeah, honestly, this is a truly amazing movie. Now, Age of Ultron. Honestly, 2015 wasn't as good of a year as 2014 was. Now, Avengers Age of Ultron. On one hand, this movie does have a lot of boring elements, just like with Thor. However, and I did actually stop watching a couple times because I was just bored. However, I watched it recently and I actually finished it because it was a really fun movie. It is quite a lot of fun stuff, this movie. And although Tony Stark created Ultron, he fights him off. I love them all fighting off Ultron and all that stuff. Also, as I grow to love James Spader after watching Boston Legal, honestly, this movie is just, I love this movie even more now that I love James Spader. Honestly, this movie is just absolutely, it's not a wonderful movie by any means, but it is a pretty good movie. Pretty good. Now we have Ant-Man. Now, Ant-Man, I like it. Okay, I'm a bit mixed on Ant-Man. On one hand, I really like the plot. I'm not a huge Ant-Man fan, like with like Captain America, or Iron Man, the Guardians. I'm not a huge Ant-Man kind of guy. Well, it's still a pretty good movie. I like all the like thief becoming a hero thing. All like well with the pin particles. Is it a great movie? No, it's really not. It doesn't have that. It just doesn't have that element to me. But it is a pretty good movie. Oh my, okay, people are not gonna agree with me on this. Most people will put this in like great or amazing. Not me. I just don't like this movie very much. Okay? Like everything up until like the airport fight is just so slow, so dragged, so boring. And then after the airport fight, you kind of have fun, and then you see the Avengers like tear up. But it's done so like, bro, I just don't know the way this movie is paced is so bad. I don't like this movie. Like, okay, I don't. I don't know if it's an objectively bad movie. I think objectively it's probably it's probably a decent installment to the MCU. Though, subjectively, with an S, I don't really like this movie a lot, honestly. So, I mean, at least the bad two is getting used, I guess, because I just don't like this movie. I don't. Then we got Doctor Strange. This movie is pretty good. Well, I wouldn't say it has the most effects out of any Marvel movie. It does have some pretty cool ones. However, for getting CGI, I really like the origin story. The first, like, little bit is pretty nice. I also loved, everything. I love all the ancient world stuff. I love how they're focusing on a new little element of the MCU, like they're introducing us to, like, a new element of the MCU with this movie. Magic, which is going to be used a lot more later on. But yeah. I really like this movie. The plot, the ancient one, all that stuff is just really great. Honestly, I like this movie a lot. And it also does show Doctor Strange, although he does actually get his powers in this movie. It also shows him getting the moral compass to be a hero. This movie kind of does both. It shows Doctor Strange getting his powers. Just the stimming stuff. I was just stimming in between each. I was just stimming there. But yeah, I do really like this movie. I love how he like becomes like well, he gets his powers. He still like gets the moral compass to be a hero. So yeah, I really like the movie. It is a pretty great movie. I don't think it has the juice to be amazing, but it is a pretty great movie. Next up is Guardians Volume 2. Now, some people like this, some people don't. Personally, I like it. Although the plot isn't nearly as strong as, like, the first one. I don't think the plot is as strong with, like, the dad and stuff. I just don't like this movie as much as, like, the first one or really anything in The Amazing 2 so far. However, it still is a really good movie. I even think it's worthy of being great because it has so many great elements. Like, I just love the movie. I love them really diving into Peter Quill's father and all that. And the subplot with Rocket and Groot and the Ravagers and all that. And those yellow people. Everything here is done pretty well. However, I don't know. I just don't like it as much as these top movies, okay? I just don't like it as much. Okay. Now we got Spider-Man Homecoming, our first friendly neighborhood Spider-Man movie. Yeah, this movie, it's just your average friendly neighborhood Spider-Man with Iron Man in it for a few minutes. Honestly, though, this movie is pretty nice. I love how Adrian Toomes kind of like didn't really want to become a villain, but he was kind of forced to by society and by the Department of Damage Control and by Tony Stark, actually, dude. That was Spider-Man fighting a villain that Tony Stark created. Tony Stark literally created the Vulture, dude. Peter Parker is fighting a villain that Tony Stark created. Well, not exactly his Ultron. He's still fighting a villain Tony Stark created. Yay. But yeah, this movie is just really fun. I love how, like, with the original Spider-Man stories, like, he goes to college, like, in the first movie, they actually show him being, like, kind of early on in high school, so they can also, and they really have this sort of after the homecoming dance a lot, which makes this really feel like a high school movie, which I'm really glad Marvel decided to at least put some focus into, even if it's not a lot. I'm glad that Marvel tried, like, kind of focus on, like, the high school perspective with Spider-Man, which is nice. I really like that. Honestly, though, I really like this movie a lot. I would even say it's a truly great movie. If I pause, it's because I'm stimming. I do that because I think I'm autistic. But yeah, then we have Thor Ragnarok. This is easily the most rewatchable movie in the MCU. Although the fourth installment of the movie that would come after this would way overuse the humor aspect, this movie took well advantage of it. And even though this movie had a lot of humor, just like with Guardians, the writers actually knew how to balance it. There are still actually serious moments in this movie that are used, that are overshadowed by the comedy. They actually knew how to use jokes in this. Just look at the poster, though. Look at the first movie, look at the second, and look at this. You can tell it's just so much more colorful, spectacular. Honestly, though, the only movie that might top this is maybe Guardians. So this is truly an amazing movie. But this is truly an amazing movie. Wakanda Forever, Black Panther. First off, I just gotta tell you, I like this movie way more than the sequel. Mainly because T'Challa is actually a good main character. Honestly, though, I think all those other characters, like Shuri, the mom, all those characters, honestly worked best as side characters. Because really, though, if you watch these movies, you know that really Black Panther was really the only one who really worked best as a main character. Because he had all the really good main character qualities. Shuri really did it. That Soldier Woman really did it. You can tell that in Black Panther 2. But hey, she doesn't have the problem because Thanos hasn't died yet. So this movie is really good. Honestly, I love all the like aspects of like, although they still focus on African culture. Well, Wakanda is shown to be a really technology-based thing. They still show some stuff from Wakanda, from African culture. They still show off African culture, even if this place is a lot more technologically advanced than a lot of places in Africa. Actually, basically all places in Africa, this place is more technologically advanced. However, they still did show some stuff from African culture. Now, is this movie amazing? I honestly don't think so. I just don't like Black Panther as much. I don't think this movie has that in it. However, is it a great movie? Absolutely. We got the king. I don't think this is even the king yet. We haven't gotten to that movie. My all-time favorite movie. We don't even have it yet. You know what movie that is. But this movie is still wonderful. It was kind of hard to watch knowing that Thanos is gonna win. This is still an absolutely goated movie. You know what I absolutely love about this is even though this movie had like so many characters, no character felt underused. Every character had a good amount of screen time, which is absolutely goated. Honestly, though, this movie was absolutely goated. I just love this movie. I love the fight against Thanos, the big bad. Honestly, though, this movie is truly amazing. It's not my favorite MCU movie yet. We're getting there, almost. But this is absolutely an amazing movie. And then, because Marvel decided that they just had to follow up a big movie with a small movie that's like cool to sound, it was. It's been literally forever since I watched this. And honestly, this movie is forgettable as hell. This movie is really forgettable. Yeah. This movie has ghosts. So the movie's villain is Ghost. And the only reason I remember that is because I recently played Iron Man VR with my VR set. And Ghost was the villain of that. Kind of. But yeah. This movie, I mean, it does have some pretty fun elements. It dives a little bit deeper into him. Okay, that bit about particles. And honestly, though, it does have some fun elements. However, it does have a lot of flaws. So I'd say it's a fun movie, but flawed. Now, next up is Captain Marvel. Honestly, though, she doesn't have any of the things that I liked Captain America, Iron Man, Thor for. While those movies felt like while those characters felt like actual humans, Captain Marvel really doesn't kill. She's just because people just I don't know. She was just like the earliest version of like a Mary Sue, I guess. Bro, like she was just, yeah, I'm so powerful. I have no flaws. I'm a woman. I have no flaws. I mean, I do like this movie dived into the Kree and all that. I also like that we saw a younger version of Nick Fury. I also like how they played on the fact that in Winter Soldier, he said because he trusted somebody, he lost an eye, and that's because he trusted the cat. I actually really like that Nick Fury lost his eye due to a cat. I found that really funny for the character, and it was a bit humbling for the character. However, as much as I like the background stuff of this movie, the main character is just written so badly. She's written to have like no flaws because she's a woman to be like this perfect, beautiful goddess. While Captain America was also kind of that way, he did have some human traits and like was shown to like actually make a sacrifice, diving himself into the ocean to actually do stuff. While Captain Marvel was kind of like just, oh, I'm so powerful, overpowered, overpowered. So honestly, though, I think this movie is a really fun movie because of that really deep flaw. I'll put it in fun but flawed. Next up is the best movie ever. This is literally my favorite movie, period. Avengers Endgame. Yeah, honestly though, this is literally the perfect climax to the Infinity Saga. Honestly though, this is literally the perfect climax. Everything. Although it had a big ensemble and aspects of Infinity War for obvious reasons, every character felt used enough. Nobody was underused. Everything, every part of this movie. I loved how it was split into like thirds. The first third of the movie was them like dealing with the consequences of Infinity War and like trying to figure out what to do next. Then the time travel plot. Then the final battle. If you thought the final battle of the Avengers was great, well, Endgame was like 10 times better. A big battle. The big battle. It's the big bad. Well, I kind of wish Thanos didn't time travel from the past because I kind of lost a bit of weight because it wasn't the Thanos we were following all the time. He was the Thanos in 2014. However, it didn't really hurt the movie that much. This is honestly a really great movie. Honestly, even amazing. This is easily the best movie in not even only in the MCU, but period. This is a wonderful, spectacular movie. Amazing too. And even though this is supposed to be the final movie of the Infinity Saga, Marvel decided they have to end everything with a small little movie to cool us down. And honestly, Spider-Man Far From Home really wasn't that bad. Spider-Man Far From Home is actually really good. Sorry, I just had a little bit of voice issues. So, Spider-Man. Honestly, though, first off, I gotta say, I really love the villain Mysterio. I love how he kind of demonstrates, like, people in real life, how they can be, like, they can be shown to be, like, such good people. However, in reality, they're not really that great. And Peter Parker's, like, the many people who fall for them. I also love all the plots, like the field trip, all of that. I love the stuff with MJ. Honestly, this movie is just really great. I don't know if it's amazing. I don't think it has that juice, but it is It's even better than the first Spider-Man movie. A truly great film. And that's all. Now, if you liked this video, maybe consider leaving a like. It'll cause the algorithm to recommend this video to even more people, so more people can enjoy it too. And maybe even leave a like. And please subscribe to me. Now, you don't have to. If you don't like my channel, you don't have to sub to me, but I would appreciate it if you subbed. And click here to watch my video that I make on the Multiverse Saga. Assuming that you weren't here in the first, day of its existence. Because I'll be making that video tomorrow, but if it's already out, click here to see my video on the Multiverse Saga, ranking all those movies on the tier list and shows. Anyway, that's all for this video. Peace.